don't want to play for clicks. I want to be involved with a great leading program that's going to develop players. Him leaving Colorado, a shot across the bow at Deion. I don't think Deion cares.
We saw Logan Diggs move on from LSU to Ole Miss with Lane Kiffin. Don't be shocked if you see John Emery potentially maybe at another school, maybe like a Miss State or even maybe like a Texas A&M.
Inside the transfer portal, only on SportsGrid.
Quotes coming out about Embiid. Oh, he's a warrior. You'll never get him off the court. You're just telling me he's an injury. He's one slip and fall away from what's not seeing him anymore in this series.
I would have sat him because there was only 1 day between the 2 games. It's 2 days between games 2 and games 3, and it's 2 days between games 3 and game 4.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. Your 24/7 sports wagering network. The early line.
Magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Pharrell Coast to Coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
Game time decisions.
Luka is actually far more dangerous from 3 on the road this year than at home.
This game here tonight, you may want to consider taking as many points as humanly possible.
In-game live. Prime time.
We got not 1, but 2 coaches fired systems in place.
Sports Rage Late
sort
Night.
of has letdown written all over it. It's going to be hard to match the emotion that they played with the other night.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Welcome in. It is a beautiful Saturday here on SportsGrid. Kevin Walsh with you for Game Time Decisions. 2 hours to set it up and knock it down full board. 2 NBA games, 2 NHL games, playoff style, plus a full Major League Baseball board, including the debut of Paul Skenes, the potential future ace of Major League Baseball. We've got some action with Paul Skenes that goes a little bit beyond just today's game against the Cubs. We will get there. We will get to Mavs, Thunder, Celtics, Cavs, the NHL, all of that. But we like to start it off with a quick pick, and I figured why not get this out of the way. Probably a loser. How could I have confidence betting baseball? I don't know, but we're still going to get up off of the mat here. Under 8.5, Orioles Diamondbacks. That's the MLB play of the day. Nelson against Means. Means excellent in his lone start so far this season, and I think you've got yourselves a bounce-back spot for Nelson, who's been a little bit better than that ERA right now, sitting at a 5.23, would suggest. So I'm going to play the under here again. We don't hide from it. We don't run from it. We celebrate the wins. We acknowledge the losses. And the MLB play of the day has been full of losses. So if you see this and you love the over, I respect it. I really do. I understand it. But also, this boat will get turned around, believe you me. And that's not the only baseball action that I've got for today. We're going to go through that full card. But I want to start with what is, for me, my favorite game on today's board, and that is Dallas, Oklahoma City, Mavs Thunder, as the Western Conference is delivering so far. I mean, the playoffs. The NBA has been great. This second round, I knew it was going to be great, and it absolutely has been. But what we have here is a 2.5-point line in favor of the Mavs. And it's really interesting. The conversation around this series, the word disrespect has been tossed around. Mavs opened as series favorites. Disrespect. We see the Thunder move to slight minus 120 favorites. Still disrespect. And I don't agree. I think Oklahoma City is good. I'm a Thunder believer, right? Relative to some of the things that we hear out there about them being an awful 1 seed. No, I think that's completely misleading. However, I think the Dallas record perhaps a bit misleading. 50 wins is still good, but it would be much better had the Mavs been given a full season with their current roster. The Mavericks have been as good as any team in the NBA outside of the Boston Celtics since they've made their acquisitions. The Mavericks have been great. And they now have guys buying in across the board, stepping up across the board. Dallas back home only minus 134 to win the series despite being evened up at 1-1. That feels like disrespect. Dallas just a 2.5-point favorite for game number 3 at home. That feels like disrespect. I think the Mavericks will win the West. I am an early Mavs believer. Run the tape, betting above the rim. And this was not in August. No, this was in April when the season ended unceremoniously for Luka and Kyrie. As people seemingly were certain that that big two would not work out. I disagreed. We knew the offense would be great. Dallas needed to make a move to bring in another star alongside Luka Doncic. Ultimately, bringing in Kyrie put them in a position where the defense was never going to be good enough, and it was atrocious. It doesn't forgive missing the playoffs and the play-in altogether. That should have never happened, but it didn't mean that the 1-2 punch was going to be a failure. And it's going very well right now, as not only Luka's been excellent, but Kyrie Irving, both sides of the basketball, is stepping up for the Mavericks. All of a sudden, the conversation on Kyrie's flipping around. And it makes some teams look a little bit silly for passing. Looking at you, LA Lakers. Possibly looking at you, Miami Heat. Oh, and by the way, Kevin Durant. Maybe it's your fault, huh? Instead of blaming everybody else. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. But Kyrie in Game 2 had a very rare performance. 9 points. No slander, all praise. 11 assists, good defense, timely execution. But I think tonight we see Kyrie Irving step up. Over 22.5 points was my favorite bet. Kyrie Irving in a clear and obvious bounce-back spot. The only time that we've seen him go under 20 before Game 2 was in Game 5 against the Clippers. Came back home and gave you a 30-point performance in a closeout. And back home is the key. All of Kyrie's best games so far this postseason have happened in Dallas. Go back to the regular season where Kyrie Irving was averaging over 27 points per game at home. So for me, I think what we have is Kyrie stepping up, watching that efficiency tick up, and he could get going early. Kyrie's been very underwhelming scoring the basketball in the first half of Games 1 and Game 2. So don't be surprised if Kyrie sits at 15 or better in the first half of this game and closes the door with a nice scoring performance here against the Oklahoma City Thunder. I think 30's on the board tonight for Kyrie Irving. I think for Oklahoma City, they'll see Jalen Williams answer the bell here and go over the 29.5 points, rebounds, and assists. If you want to just play the rebounds plus assists number for Jalen Williams, I understand that. That number's 9.5. Last game is the first time all postseason we did not see double-digit RA for J-Dub, but I want to bring the points into the mix here because the volume is there. The efficiency is lacked just a little bit. He shot 53% from the floor against New Orleans. So far in this series against the Mavs, 41%. So Jalen Williams here, if I think we're going to get double-digit rebounds plus assists, and I think tonight he could really get through those numbers, maybe 15 or so, truly. But I think the points could really break out again. I think 25, 30 could be a stretch, but 25, maybe even 30 for J-Dub tonight, 27-28 kind of night, I think is absolutely in line here because the efficiency can tick up a little bit for their second leading scorer in Oklahoma City. Give me J-Dub here over the 29.5 points, rebounds, and assists. I do want to stay in the Western Conference. We're going to get to Cavs Celtics in just a little bit, certainly. But if we take a look at the West now, after last night's win for the Denver Nuggets, it's very interesting to watch how quickly things can change. All of a sudden, the Denver Nuggets have the second best price to win the West. The Denver Nuggets went from nobody can beat this team, which was the conversation all the way until they lost to Minnesota in Game 2. Throughout the whole regular season, they were given the benefit of the doubt. Against the Lakers, despite never looking the level, were given the benefit of the doubt. Heck, game number 1 against Minnesota, there were some concerns, but people still assumed a full bounce back was on the way. They went down 0-2, and it was Nuggets are done. Nuggets are dead. Oh, this Denver team's in a world of trouble. It could be a sweep. And I get that, right? But all of a sudden, all of the Denver trust had gone out the door. Denver handling their business in Game 3 was no surprise here. Been alluding to it all week long throughout the show. Don't just get rid of Denver. But also, now that we've seen Denver bounce back, it appears this team is 1 win away in Game 4 from going back to Western Conference favorites. And all of a sudden, the forgotten conversations will be the ones that we've been having throughout this week about the panic level in Denver, about Denver not having enough. Denver can win this series against Minnesota. And if they do, I will gladly be fading them in the Western Conference Finals. This team still has very serious issues. They aren't as deep as last year. Jamal Murray's not as good as last year. And sometimes it can be as simple as that. So as the Denver Nuggets start to turn that conversation around, to some degree, we knew that was going to happen. But it is now getting turned far too much. And I think that is the mistake. We'll talk a little bit about the Celtics situation next. We're live with you on SportsGrid.
The entire game, whether it's a charge or a block or a deflection that was wrong or a foul that should have been called that wasn't called or vice versa. Give me a 48-minute report. And people that will understand that there's so many mistakes that the referees make over the course of the game that referees, ready folks, don't decide the outcome.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. Your 24/7 sports wagering network. The early line.
Magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Pharrell, coast to coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
Game time decisions.
Luka is actually far more dangerous from 3 on the road this year than at home.
This game here tonight, you may want to consider taking as many points as humanly possible.
In-game live, prime time.
We got not one, but 2 coaches fired systems in place.
Sports Rage Late
Sort of
Night.
has letdown written all over it. It's going to be hard to match the emotion that they played with the other night.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Back with you here on SportsGrid, and we just talked a little about the Nuggets and the Timberwolves, where that series is now 2-1. Same story here, Knicks-Pacers. If there is cause for concern for New York and Minnesota, it's recent history suggesting someone is going to blow a 2-0 lead. Seven of the last eight NBA playoffs, a team has blown a 2-0 lead. First step taken for Indiana and Denver cutting into those series deficits. Yet the prices are still showing us that there is some hesitation it's going to be a full march back. If you look at the drop that happened for Denver, it was significantly more than the drop that happened for Indiana, which I thought was interesting. And ultimately, you have a short number here for the Pacers, you could say, but not as short when you consider their still status as 6-point favorites in Game 4. Maybe it is because the Game 3 number was so strong on Indiana, the books were prepared for this move, and it was not going to change all that much from where things sat before we tipped things off in game number 2. But now that we sit here 2-1, we are one game away from being even up and one game away from all of a sudden the momentum being on the Pacers' side. And it is likely going to be up to Jalen Brunson to slow down that Pacers' momentum. What's interesting, though, is Jalen Brunson is actually being met now by Tyrese Halliburton. The full series numbers tell the story of Brunson being better. And, of course, Brunson missed a big chunk of basketball in game number 2, where that 32.7 a night might be closer to 40 a game. But Halliburton's 25 is also, I don't want to say misleading, but it doesn't tell the full story. Tyrese Halliburton's Game 1 performance was abysmal. It was a performance that is not acceptable for a star, but he has responded with back-to-back games of 30-plus points. You could argue Hallie's 2 best games of the playoffs have now come in Game 2 and Game 3, and that can be the swing. Not that he is outplaying Brunson, but if he can even meet Brunson, it's a huge swing in this series because the Knicks are at such a depth disadvantage. It is not a slight to the Knicks. They are the most injured team remaining in the playoffs. Everybody has stars a little bit banged up. Halliburton, Donovan Mitchell, Luka Doncic. Everybody has Jamal Murray. All these guards are a little bit banged up, but so is Brunson. It's that Brunson's missing Randall, OG, Mitch Robb, Bogdanovich. The list is long. And for the Knicks, the longer this series goes, you imagine at some point it will wear on them because it already has with seeing OG leave this series. And I know projecting injuries can be dangerous, but when you play everybody 45-plus minutes, they are a little bit more expected. Again, it feels like the Knicks, despite the 2-1 series lead, are in a dangerous spot. The Cavs and the Celtics, it's a little bit of a different tune. The Celtics, despite dropping Game 2, in what was really embarrassing fashion, it's not described as a dangerous spot. It's just seen as, Boston playing around and they'll bounce back, no issue. 8-point road favorites, minus 350 on this money line. Still huge favorites to win the series as well as the conference. Minus money at last look to win the NBA championship at some books. So for the Boston Celtics, is there any reason to panic? Time will tell. I had a conversation with somebody who knows this team very well, and I said the key for Boston is at no point in any of these series can they trail. Don't go down 1-0, don't go down 2-1. It might sound simple, but for Boston, as long as they can say, hey, look, we get the next one, we're good, and not we need the next one, then they are probably good. Because they are more talented than any team in the East. Really, any team in the league, you could argue. Depends where you land on Oklahoma City. It's just a younger group. But ultimately, for Boston, they are loaded. I know they haven't played their best basketball. Certainly not number 0 sat right there. And I know Celtics, some fans are currently in defense mode for JT because he's being taken to task. That's the level, though. That's what you want. You want your star player to be held to a higher standard. And it's a standard he's not even flirted with yet this postseason. He was their best guy in game number 2. It wasn't enough. They were embarrassed. So in a way, it didn't move the needle. So can Jason Tatum step up? You hope. But 21.5 a night? While you're getting 30 smooth out of Donovan Mitchell? It's a bad look. It just is. And listen, I've talked about this constantly, but nobody has cost me more money in my betting life than Jason Tatum. Gave him a chance in game 2 and par for the course. 2 made threes in the first half, none in the second half. It's what I expect. I go into Tatum bets expecting to lose. It's how this has been going for years. It was the pandemic. I was wearing a mask while I was watching this guy cost me coin. It is what it is. I get it. So I'm not on him tonight. Does that mean he can finally break 3 and go off and hit 5 threes and score 35 points? Sometimes I think about just keep on playing Tatum unders until he can prove that he can get through me, because so far he hasn't been able to prove that. But can he get through the Cavs? Again, the expectation is yes. But can he be better than Donovan Mitchell? Seems like the expectation is no. I think Donovan Mitchell will continue to step up here tonight, but I do think the Cavs' offense will struggle. A same-game parlay, but it is not correlated, and it is why the odds look so favorable. 25-plus points for Donovan Mitchell, under Cavs team total 106.5. Last game against Boston is the first time the Cavs scored 107 points this postseason. Donovan Mitchell scoring 25 is something that we can typically bank on. So at minus 105, this is great. Again, it's not correlated. It's why the odds are so favorable. But Donovan Mitchell has made good on that number in the team total going under countless times in this postseason, including game number 1 and the closeouts against Orlando. He scored 50 once, and they didn't get over 100 points. So a little non-correlated same-game parlay for Donovan Mitchell to hit 25, but the Cavs under 106.5 at minus 105. We'll talk superstars and hockey next right here on SportsGrid.
The entire game, whether it's a charge or a block or a deflection that was wrong or a foul that should have been called that wasn't called or vice versa. Give me a 48-minute report. And people that will understand that there's so many mistakes that the referees make over the course of the game that referees, ready folks, don't decide the outcome.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. Your 24/7 sports wagering network. The early line.
Magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Pharrell, coast to coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
Game time decisions.
Luka is actually far more dangerous from 3 on the road this year than at home.
This game here tonight, you may want to consider taking as many points as humanly possible.
In-game live, prime time.
We got not 1, but 2 coaches fired systems in place.
Sports Rage
This
late
sort of
night.
has letdown written all over it. It's going to be hard to match the emotion that they played with the other night.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Busy morning here on SportsGrid. We'll get to the Wells Fargo with Brady Cannon's help in just a little bit. I want to start on the ice. Last night, the Panthers, they get downhill and handle their business against the Bruins, and they are now the newly minted Stanley Cup favorites. And we have seen this be very fluid. It does not look like the NBA's postseason market where Boston has been the favorite for a very long time. Just the 2 or 3 days ago, we saw the Avs positioned as Cup favorites. And I got to tell you, I do think Colorado is being incredibly slighted here in this market now. Behind the Dallas Stars, it just doesn't make any bit of sense. The Avs have stolen home ice. They've not lost a home game yet in this series. Has Dallas looked better? Because they won game 2. It just doesn't make any sense to me. The Avs would have home ice over Edmonton if they get through Dallas, which I still think they will. So for me, the Stars being booked as cup favorites, or the Avs rather, I wouldn't have that much issue with. I think the Rangers probably deserve that status, knowing they'll have home ice over the Florida Panthers, who are up 2-1 in their series, compared to the Rangers at 3-0. But Colorado at plus 550, it's now becoming a tempting number. Clearly, you can tell I think they'll win tonight here against the Stars. Home favorites sitting at now minus 134. Total in that game, 6.5. The hockey playoff action begins with Carolina and New York. 5.5 total. Canes minus 156. To avoid the sweep. Let's talk baseball. I mentioned the MLB play of the day already. That is an under 8.5 runs in Baltimore, Arizona. I'm also playing 5 separate money lines in Major League Baseball today. As I want to, and I know this for some people might sound a little backwards, but I fear limiting myself to the singular play is not allowing me to get enough of a feel for the league. Also, I'm constantly overthinking things, as I was going to just play Ozzie Albies, hits, runs, RBIs, and he hit a home run in the 3rd inning. But, of course, I ultimately did not do that yesterday. That's not the point. But I want to get some money lines on the board, and I thought there were some interesting value spots here. So we'll run through them quickly. Let me get the Phillies on the money line at minus 130. Now, at last look, we don't have the starting pitcher for Miami. Quite frankly, I do not care. I think Taijuan Walker can bounce back, and this Phillies team is just so red hot. I'm willing to pay that price at minus 130. Javier against Skubal. I'll take Javier. I think you could argue he is better than Skubal, just as good. Tariq's actually been a little bit worse so far this season at home, and at some point this Astros team can turn a corner, because here's the thing, again, Javier Skubal, you want to say that's Skubal, okay, fine, it's not a rout. But the lineup is still in Houston's favor. They stepped up, got a huge win last night to now win 2 in a row after avoiding a sweep at the hands of the New York Yankees. I like the Astros at a plus price here, plus 114. I'm going to give the White Sox a chance at better than plus 140. Clev gets the ball against Tristan McKenzie, who's been nothing to write home about for the Guardians so far. And the White Sox have already taken 2. I think that's why we have some of the value here with the thought of, oh, no way the White Sox win again. Yes, they can win again at a plus 140 price. This Giants number has moved quite a bit. It was around a minus 102. I think the final number that I was able to get was like plus 110, give or take. I think it's climbed even more. That's fine by me. This Cincinnati Reds team is playing bad baseball. They finally stopped the skid, but I think the Giants here, who are still over 500 at home, can get the job done at that plus price and then close it out. LA Dodgers minus 142. Paxton's 4-0 this season. He just does enough for the Dodgers, and I think the LA offense bouncing back against Waldron feels like a safe bet. Only scoring 1 run last game and only 3 against Miami the game prior. I think you see the Dodgers offense carry the load here and Paxton be good enough. I'll take the Dodgers at minus 142. Now, people might think to themselves, hey, where's the Paul Skenes breakdown? Don't you worry about it. Season long, you can watch every single one of those starts. 104.5 under. Season-long strikeouts for Paul Skenes. I get he is amazing. He will need to be the best pitcher in baseball right away, I think, to get through this number. And even then, that might be enough. As I've mentioned, if I'm playing a pitcher season-long prop, I'm very likely playing it towards the under. If you look right now, last 2 seasons, there were 9 guys who threw 10-plus strikeouts per 9 innings. And the year before that, there was 10. So if I tell you that Skenes averages 10 Ks per 9, I think I'm being fair. If I tell you he only throws 5 innings pitched per start, again, based on how baseball is, I think I'm being fair. He'll need to start 19 games then to get through this number. I don't think that's happening. Paul Skenes under the 104.5. We go to the Wells Fargo next.
miscall the entire game, whether it's a charge or a block or a deflection that was wrong or a foul that should have been called that wasn't called or vice versa. Give me a 48-minute report. And people that will understand that there's so many mistakes that the referees make over the course of the game that referees, ready folks, don't decide the outcome.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. The early line.
Magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Pharrell coast to coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
Game time decisions.
Luka is actually far more dangerous from three on the road this year than at home.
This game here tonight, you may want to consider taking as many points as humanly possible.
In-game live. Prime time.
We got not one, but two coaches fired systems in place.
Sports Rage
This
Late
sort of
Night.
has letdown written all over it. It's going to be hard to match the emotion that they played with the other night.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Back right here, it is game time decisions. We've done the NBA. We've done the NHL. We even got the people some baseball. We got to get to the golf. Can't do it without Brady Cannon. Brady, how are you on this lovely Saturday morning?
I'm good, Kevin. Good to be with you once again and previewing some very good golf going on here at a very good golf course, big-time tournament, the Wells Fargo at Quail Hollow. And, of course, we're just about 5 or 6 days away from the PGA Championship. So golf is in a good spot right now.
It certainly is, and so is Xander Schauffele. 11 under,
yeah.
4 up on Day and Rory, 5 up on Moore and Im, and anybody else would be 6 back or better. There are some big names here, but Xander's a big name in his own right. I see minus 120 to win this tournament. What do you think about Schauffele right now at 11 under through the first 2 rounds?
Well, I tell you what, minus 120 is a really good price, but do you like to lay minus money at a halfway point, with all these big names in this field on a very difficult golf course? I think it's a fair price, but, Xander has that reputation. We saw it at the Players Championship where Scotty caught him. I like Xander, and I hate to, have guys have a bad rap of not being able to close, but it's not altogether true with Xander. I think he's had the 54-hole lead like 8 times in his career, and he's gotten it done, I want to say 3 times. It just hasn't happened the last few times. So, that sticks with people. But I tell you, if I was going to bet somebody right now, I don't think the price is good. Kevin, we never get a good price on Rory McIlroy. But he might be the guy I would bet. And Colin Morikawa is another one who I don't think it's a fantastic price. And then on Ben On, if I was going to go with a long shot, I might take him. And I do think we're getting a very fair price on him. But Schauffele's number 1 in strokes gained approach in this field through 2 rounds, number 1 in greens and regulation, and 5th in scrambling. That's really good. The driving accuracy is 50th. He's only hitting half of the fairways, but apparently not causing him any problems. I just wonder if a hiccup is coming at some point. Rory's playing really well as well. 3rd in strokes gained off the tee, 4th on approach, 4th in greens and regulation, and 38th in putting. So, we always talk about this. If that putter gets for Rory today, he could be on his way to winning this tournament for a 4th time.
Yeah, I think that's the interesting thing, and I feel if I remember correctly, the notion of Rory playing well right before a major event is not a foreign thing. It's just is plus 360 4 back of a guy of Xander's quality a good enough number to play, to your point, on Saturday? Because, again, with golf is just so fascinating because we deal with such different numbers. I just went through an NBA card, a baseball card. I just bet a minus 142 on the Dodgers, right? So plus 360 on Rory McIlroy, it's a gift. But I think what is, if I have to get plus 110, but I'm tied with Xander or one back heading into Sunday, Brady, the patience on Rory could possibly pay off.
Totally agree. It kind of feels there's no wind out there on the course today. If Rory, again, if the putter goes well for Rory, he should have a good day. But what's to say Xander won't have a good day? And that's why he's at minus money and everybody else is not. But it just feels to me at some point between now and Sunday, there is going to be a hiccup for Xander because he basically hasn't had one yet. And it just seems we're all too familiar with him having that one hole where he makes double bogey or he makes a couple bogeys and he lets someone through the back door. Again, the price is not great on Rory. He should probably be closer to 5-1, just where he sits and where that deficit is and who that guy is that's ahead of him. But if I'm not involved, I'm going to stick with all my pre-tournament stuff. I'm looking good on head-to-head matchups. I'm looking pretty good on top 20 finishes. I don't think I'm going to probably get an outright winner at this point. Thigala, Corey Connors, and Ben On are my closest contestants at this point. Like I say, On might be a decent long shot bet. Maybe you bet him for a placement, a top 10, something like that. But if I was going to get involved at this point, I'd probably go against Xander. And I'd look at a couple of big names. Even though the price is not perfect, you're probably paying a little extra. I think Rory and Morikawa could give this guy a run.
So there is one guy I want to ask you about. Now, admittedly, I think all these numbers have to be within the same range, if not exact, where, tee to green or where they within the field right on approach. But there is a number here, Brady, I've never seen before, and I'll explain. If you take the guys, there's 12 golfers at 4 under or better, and where they are in strokes gained putting. Rory McIlroy, of those 12, is the second worst at 39th in this field. Everybody else is top 25 or better. And then Corey Connors is dead last.
He's so bad
in strokes gained putt. But how is that possible, Brady? That this guy's sitting here 4 under? What is this?
It's amazing. He's number 1 in the field in strokes gained off the tee, and he's number 2 on approach. And like you said, he's 68th or something putting. I mean, my goodness, if this guy could putt. Oh gosh, Corey Connors, maybe the best ball striker in the world. Certainly is at times. He's really got to take some time and work on his putting in the offseason or like next week or something because my goodness, oh gosh, it's been a label that we've put on him, but now you know why. My goodness, he's dead last in the field and putting, and he's the very best off the tee and with the irons.
So this is where, right, I can see when something stands out, but I might not know the appropriate move. We talk about putting can be fluky, so sometimes you want a guy who's not running away with the putter to bounce back. Yeah. So again, hey, Rory could step it up fine, right? I mean, a Jason Day, but he's atrocious. Yeah. So is that one of those things like, oh my gosh, if he's 40th in putting, he's going to win this tournament? Or no, that's so bad, we have to stay away from this guy.
Yeah, I mean, where is he right now? He's 7th. Yeah, I think maybe you could play him for a top 10. Certainly top 20, you're going to pay some money for that. But no, Corey Connors is not a good putter, period. So we don't necessarily expect that to, go positively to the mean. He's probably going to stay relatively bad with the putter. Rory's a decent putter. He's not great, but he could certainly improve. Right. Jason Day's a great putter. He could actually improve on where he is already. Let's see, he's 22nd putting. He's positive strokes gained putting, but he could get even better. Jason Day's won here before too, but Day's a little bit erratic for me. 38th off the tee, 16th approach, 17th in greens and regulation. I mentioned 22nd in putting. And then this is no surprise, number 1 in strokes gained around the green. He's got a tremendous short game, but just kind of a little all over the place everywhere else.
Yeah, it is one of those things that kind of when I pulled it up, I I clicked through like 100 times just to see if I was doing something wrong. Dead last, but being top 10 right now. Here's one quick other thing, Brady, because, again, you and I believe we'll talk again tomorrow and certainly throughout the week to get people set up for a major event. And sometimes there are certain storylines I'll attach myself to. And I am now overwhelmingly fascinated by Hovland.
Yeah.
What is going on here with this guy? Because we got a major event next week.
Why do you make a change after you were the best golfer on the planet at the end of last season? I think he's really struggling. He's probably completely overanalyzing and overthinking it. This guy just has to get back to square one. I feel bad for guys that go through that type of thing. And golf is better when Victor Hovland is challenging. I had both he and Koepka at the PGA last year, and they were in the final pairing, and that was thrilling.
Yeah.
But boy, he's gone off the deep end. We'll see if he can. I don't know if he can turn it around in time for next week. Certainly, we'll see if he can get it together throughout the rest of the year.
Yeah, certainly something to keep tabs on, and Brady will be helping us the entire way. Appreciate it, Brady. We'll talk some talk next right here on SportsGrid.
The entire game, whether it's a charge or a block or a deflection that was wrong or a foul that should have been called that wasn't called or vice versa. Give me a 48-minute report. And people that will understand that there's so many mistakes that the referees make over the course of the game that referees, ready folks, don't decide the outcome.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. Your 24/7 sports wagering network. The early line.
Magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Pharrell, coast to coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
Game time decisions.
Luka is actually far more dangerous from three on the road this year than at home.
This game here tonight, you may want to consider taking as many points as humanly possible.
In-game live. Prime time.
We got not one, but two coaches fired systems in place.
Sports Rage Late
sort
Night.
of has letdown written all over it. It's going to be hard to match the emotion that they played with the other night.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Live right here on SportsGrid, the action continues as we head over for some playoff hockey. Joe Madden helping us break it down. Joe, how are you on this Saturday morning?
I'm doing fantastic, Evan. A late night out there on the ice between the Canucks and the Oilers, but if you stayed up, definitely worth watching.
Yeah, certainly so. I mean, you take a look at these NHL playoffs so far, and they've been a lot of fun. And, I've even been talking to people who don't usually get as invested when playoff hockey rolls around, and they've been loving it as well. I'd love to start with last night quickly. We'll get to tonight's games. And I want to start in Vancouver. 4-3 overtime win. The fact that Draisaitl and McDavid each had 4 points in a game where they only had 4 goals, I thought that was absolutely remarkable. But I didn't know if it was in some way a bit concerning that it took games that incredible from their best guys in order to get through Vancouver. Now, again, for Edmonton, they are on the road here. get back home, do your thing, score 5-6 goals, who cares? But what did you take away from Canucks Oilers as we sit in 1-1?
Kevin, I love that you pointed that out because that's what a lot of people aren't talking about. It was the Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl game last night, and without them out there on the ice, where would the Edmonton Oilers be? It gives you the question of the depth of the Edmonton Oilers because 4 points apiece. Both players played fantastic. Now, we did have question marks on if Leon Draisaitl would be out there on the ice. I was skeptical if we would have seen him last night, but then when you look at him over his playoff history, this is a player that basically will come out there on one ice. He will battle through that pain. But if he's not 100%, taking this series here versus the Vancouver Canucks, with all the workload, having to rely on Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl is going to be a hard battle. So while I think they played a fantastic game, absolutely deserved that win last night, you've got to get that secondary scoring out there for the Edmonton Oilers against the Vancouver Canucks. It's going to be absolutely game 7 between these two. I don't see it coming easy for either of these teams.
And then, Joe, with Florida and the domination that they put up on Boston, and now over 2 games, do you feel that it's just, hey, the series is 2-1, Bruins grab the next one, we're all even here, or maybe the Bruins are in a lot more trouble and game 1 was kind of fluky?
This will come down to the question mark on Brad Marchand, if he's going to get back out there on the ice. He took that huge hit from Sam Bennett last night, and the bad blood is going to be even worse for the next game between these two. I'm seeing more penalties coming, and if Florida keeps playing the way that they're playing and Brad doesn't hit the ice out there, I really do think the Florida Panthers could take each and every one of these games from here on out. So I'm looking for Boston to be in a little bit of trouble right now. It all comes down to if their captain, if he hits the ice. He really is the straw that stirs the drink for the Boston Bruins, and I just don't see them being able to get past a team like the Florida Panthers without him. You look at the defense and what the defense was able to do out there on the ice, and Bobrovsky playing absolutely fantastic. This is a hard Florida Panthers team to get past, and I do think they have the upper hand, especially without their captain on the ice for the Boston Bruins.
Yeah, it's going to be really fun to watch both of those series play out. Let's pick this up, though, with tonight, Carolina, New York. And, Joe, I got to tell you, obviously being from New York, I know a lot of Rangers fans. And you've been trusting this Rangers team throughout this series. But Game 3 was kind of the tipping point where I had people sending me your tweets, being like, Joe Madden, sharp. Like, people are loving it. People are loving the way that the Rangers stuff has been rolling here, and you have been respecting this team throughout. And I feel like I have as well. But now, Carolina has to be able to get one. I mean, a sweep feels crazy. Are you playing the money line here in Game 4?
Yes, I'm going to sprinkle on the money line, but I do think the safest bet and the best bet is to look at the under 1.5 in the first period and this full game to the under 5.5. I can't not. When I've taken the New York Rangers in every single game in this series with that plus money, I shake my head here looking at the Carolina Hurricanes getting so much respect still. Now, a team with their backs against the wall is so dangerous out here, Kevin. I could see Carolina taking this one and the New York Rangers taking it at home in Madison Square Garden in Game 5. That'd be fantastic. They'd get the gentleman's sweep. And I think it's either tonight or it's in Game 5. I don't think Carolina wins 2 here. So this is going to be a battle, but I do think defense really comes to play. Igor Shesterkin, the hottest goaltender out there on the ice this season. He's been absolutely phenomenal. He stopped 45 of 47 shots in that last game. Unless he has an off game, unless the Carolina Hurricanes find a way to hit him, which they haven't been able to do in these first 3 games, it is the New York Rangers who win this tonight. I'm looking for solid defense. The chemistry of this team is absolutely phenomenal. Their ability to move that puck out there on the ice will be fantastic, and their kill is second to none. They held the Carolina Hurricanes to no power play goals on 5 attempts in that last game. But Carolina's defense has been strong as well. They didn't allow the Rangers to score on the power play in the last game either. So defensive battle out there. I will sprinkle a little bit on the Rangers on the money line. I just can't not, Kevin.
Now, I'm curious, do we have an idea as to who will go in goal for Carolina, because at the moment the Igor props are all up. We don't have anything yet for the Canes, and Anderson had started every game, I think, prior just to the last one. Do you expect Anderson back in net for Carolina?
I would think they go back to Frederick Anderson. I think they were thinking they would have a one-up putting Krochikov in, kind of upsetting the balance there, because we've seen the Rangers be able to hit Frederick Anderson, but Frederick Anderson is clearly the stronger goalie. Maybe they were giving him a night off so he could get rested and come out stronger. And I do expect him to come out stronger on that ice. The couple of pucks he allowed through the 5-hole in those first couple of games were not Frederick Anderson-like, but we also know Frederick Anderson in the playoffs hasn't been the player that most people expect when you look at him over his history. So I do think they go back to him. He's a fantastic goalie. We'll see what happens, but I would count on him in net tonight for Carolina.
I'm really curious what his props could possibly look like. You look at his saves in this series: 19 in Game 1, 35 in Game 2, but that was double overtime. And I'm just curious what those numbers would look like. Igor right now for his saves prop checks in at 30.5 is what I'm seeing. We're going to get a little bit into Avs Stars plus the baseball board, making it happen right here on SportsGrid Game Time Decisions.
Whether it's a charge or a block or a deflection that was wrong or a foul that should have been called that wasn't called, or vice versa. Give me a 48-minute report, and people that will understand that there's so many mistakes that the referees make over the course of the game that referees, ready folks, don't decide the outcome.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. Your 24/7 sports wagering network. The early line.
Magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Pharrell, coast to coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
Game time decisions.
Luka is actually far more dangerous from 3 on the road this year than at home.
This game here tonight, you may want to consider taking as many points as humanly possible.
In-game live, prime time.
We got not one, but 2 coaches fired systems in place.
Sports Rage
this
late
sort
night.
Of has letdown written all over it. It's going to be hard to match the emotion that they played with the other night.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Back with you here. We're live with you on SportsGrid Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh, joined by Joe Madden. We're going to talk some Major League Baseball in a bit here, but I want to get over to the Avs Stars game. And Joe, I'm tempted to play a little Colorado Cup right now. I think the plus 550 number, very bizarre overreaction from the books, who positioned Colorado as Stanley Cup favorites when they took a 1-0 lead in this series. They haven't lost at home yet. They're back home. We all know how dominant Nathan McKinnon has been this season at home. I think the Avs win this game, but I'm thinking about reaching a little bit higher and, again, maybe playing Colorado to win the Stanley Cup. Before we get into the picks for this game, what do you think about this series? Do you feel that Dallas really stole momentum back in Game 2?
They stole a little bit of momentum. The difference here was their special teams. Their special teams were able to convert on 2 of 5 power play attempts. And we saw Colorado go 0-3 in that game, too. Looking, though, at the Avs here at home, Kevin, you absolutely said it. They haven't yet left or lost in the playoffs yet at home. And I really do think in this one here, they're the right side. The problem is the books have them juiced at -135, -140 at the moment, which isn't something I want to lay in such a tight battle. What I'm going to do in this one, Kevin, I'm going to live bet the Colorado Avalanche. One thing we have learned is they're starting off so slow in that first period. Dallas is finding a way to put those goals on the board in the first. As soon as Dallas comes out here and scores in that first period, and even if they don't, I'm fine missing out on Colorado at -137. But if they do, I'm going to take the Colorado Avalanche when you're getting, +110 for them after Dallas goes up. I think the best bet before going into this game, though, is looking at the total over 6.5. In the first 2 games between these two teams, we've seen 15 goals out of them. And Cale Makar and Nathan MacKinnon were really limited last game. We only saw 3 shots on goal for Nathan MacKinnon in the last game, Cale Makar as well. But this team has every ability to fight and come back in these games. I think they're a perfect live betting situation once they do go down. Wyatt Johnson was held off the scoreboard in the last game for the Dallas Stars as well. This young rookie player is playing so elite out there on the ice. I would definitely look at him for that anytime goal for the Dallas Stars. And I'd look at Cale Makar and Nathan MacKinnon to really bounce back in this game, end up getting on the scoreboard. I think this team on the power play will score on the power play at home as well. And they should be able to lock down the Stars more in this game. So give me the over 6.5 pregame. Give me a live bet on Colorado when they do go down. And I do think this game has every opportunity of going to OT, Kevin, in a tight 3-3 battle into overtime, pushing us right over that 7.
Yeah, it should be a really fun game between Colorado and Dallas. Joe, we'll fly through the baseball board to the best of our ability here. We've got Toronto against Minnesota, and the Blue Jays yesterday cost me a little fun with an all-team total parlay. So, can't stand this team. Wish them the worst here today against Minnesota.
Kevin, I can't stand this team either. This is my team, and they let me down left, right, and center. Now, Kevin Gausman getting the start and everyone high on them. I'm not laying -150 on the Toronto Blue Jays. I look here at the Minnesota Twins starting Wood Richardson, and I do think they have the upper hand. I'm going to take the plus money on the Minnesota Twins. That's coming in at +130. The Toronto Blue Jays are not getting my money. That's for sure.
Yeah, I don't blame you there. Joe, I know there's always some nerfies potentially on the board. Any here with today's slate?
Yeah, a couple nerfies that I'm looking at for sure, Kevin. The first one being looking at, where do I have my nerfie? Drawing a blank between the Minnesota Twins. I'm taking the Twins at +130, the Atlanta Braves, and the New York Mets. I really do think that will be a lower scoring game. They're looking at that one for both of those pitchers to come out nice and phenomenally strong, Kevin.
All right, so we got some nerfy action there. Dodgers team total as well, Joe. Late night, you think the offense bounces back?
Yeah, I'm alting that team total. The team total's coming in at 4.5, but I do think you can take that one to the over 5.5 in that matchup and get some plus money on the Dodgers. Paxton getting the start here for the Dodgers and Waldron coming out here for the San Diego Padres. I just don't have the faith in him. While his ERA is just over 5 overall on the season, you look at his ERA at home, he's 0-3 at home this season, an ERA north of 7. And I do think the Dodgers come out nice and strong in this one and are able to go over 5.5 runs. So I'm going to take that. That's coming in at +128, Kevin.
All right, plenty of baseball action there from Joe. As always, we appreciate it. Best of luck with the action on the diamond and the ice as well. Quick break as we continue to break it down with you right here at SportsGrid's Game Time Decisions.